We are live. Let me perfect. Pull up the stream here to monitor any comments, if any. So, a few days ago, I think, I did this exact stream. I was out back, and I had done a whole bunch of tests and stuff beforehand that were unlisted streaming tests, and I was able to get some okay results streaming out back. I got enough Wi-Fi signal on the Note 8. That stream is gone. There's a chance I might have accidentally deleted it when I was deleting all of those unlisted tested videos. But I don't know. If this one disappears too, we'll know something suspicious is up. So, my thoughts on COPPA. I know I'm late to the party, but when COPPA was happening, my phone was a Nokia 5230 brick, an old 2009 smartphone. My computer was down. I had a really old Windows XP laptop I was using, and so I found out about this because I borrowed my mom's computer for a moment to look up something. And I'm glad that I did because I was able to take care of marking all of my videos as whether they were for kids or not. And update my description was the big thing I did. Back then, once I first heard about it, I was a little more worried about getting like sued or having problems with YouTube or something if I didn't do all of that. But now I'm less worried. So here's my updated description from back then when COPPA was first happening. I like to make videos on lots of things. My content is family friendly, but not specifically for kids. If you like my content and are under 13, as long as your parents are okay with it, you are welcome to use whatever means you want to watch my content. I, however, am not catering specifically to you. I never knowingly and or purposefully have. So, let's talk about that and my thoughts on COPPA. First, I want to just interject a little side note. I was talking with someone once about something, actually probably I think it was this, and they said that because I was able to talk about both sides of the argument, give reasons for both sides, that I was thinking right and just a good mindset, and my thoughts on this were good. So, hopefully this video will be a little more condensed, and my thoughts will be better put than the last live stream. And of course, if we have any questions that are relevant, and I'm willing to answer them. So, first of all, there was a change.org petition, and I think it got enough, backtrack. So there was that, but so first of all, a lot of people are blaming the FCC, the Federal Trade Communication. They're blaming them for COPPA, which it's... Actually, wait, no, sorry. People are blaming YouTube. I forget which way this is supposed to go. The FCC is... I think a lot of people were blaming the FCC, right? And it's partially their fault, yes, but it's more so YouTube's fault. Like 60, 70% YouTube, 30% FCC, because the FCC is enforcing the rule, but YouTube's the one who made the implementation of it. YouTube's the one who decided this trash way of doing it. It's not, I don't know, the old guys, or I don't know how old they are, I don't want to be rude, but whoever's in the FCC, it's not necessarily them. They were just enforcing these rules because of a need for concern, and it really wasn't meant for YouTube in the first place. These rules were directed at girlsgogames.com from all the various videos that I watched back then when this was happening, where they were like collecting information on young girls when it wasn't necessary to play their games or other things, or when, or like there was another incident with a cookie website. I don't think it was Granny B's Cookies, but it was some website, and they offered where like you put in like your birthday, your name, some other info, and you get a free cookie on your birthday. That sounds cool. I probably would have loved free cookies on my birthday as a kid if I had known that. It would have been sweet. Unfortunately, that's not allowed anymore, which, I get that data collection like that, especially on children, can be dangerous, as I'll highlight on a little more in this. But at the same time, I think that's perfectly innocent, and if handled right, it would be great. Why did you have to shut that down? Kids would have loved that. And, on that too, you could even add some sort of a security system where an adult has to be the one doing it, and no, not a checkbox that says, yes, I'm over 18, because also it's cookies on your birthday. That's kind of targeted at kids, right? So if you're going to do that and you're going to implement some sort of a security system, you actually have to have some way of checking. Maybe you provide a phone number that is relatively obvious that it's an adult. Maybe you have to provide like some sort of a social security number. Have 2 emails verified, and one of them's probably going to be their parents. You might even be able to use AI, some kind of a test. There are various ways that we can relatively, well, I wouldn't say perfect, but there are various ways of determining whether someone's an adult that are better than the yes, I am over 18. Because that never works. Anybody, those things, all the ones that I've seen, anyone can just click on it and go see whatever. The more secure versions of that are ones where they make you log into an account that's registered as an 18-year-old. But, so yeah, there are better ways of doing that, and that could be implemented in YouTube's system with what I'm thinking. Because here's the big thing that I want to stress, okay? Corporations, YouTube, any corporation out there, I don't care who you are, it is not your job to control what our kids do to a point, and control like how our kids are secure and safe. It's our job to be parents. Yes, there are some situations where parents are doing an absolutely terrible job and kids do need to be taken and placed in some foster home somewhere else, or maybe some family members need to take them in. There are those situations, okay? But for the most part, I'm not a parent, but everybody as parents, that should be your responsibility. That's your job. So all these big corporations need to provide us tools that we can use to help our kids be safe online, and to, have our kids be online in whatever capacity we want and secure, and tools for us to be able to protect them. But it's not the company's job. The companies don't need to cram a kid protection thing down our throats, which is essentially what YouTube did. Because, with YouTube Kids, you get obvious stuff, like you take away advertisements that are, what's the word? Catered is the only one that comes to mind right now. But, relevant advertising. Yeah, that's it. Advertisements that are relevant, that are catered, those go away, and comments go away. And there's some other weird stuff, too, that I'll talk about later on. But, so there was a change.org petition, which I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, got enough petitions signed for COPPA not to go into effect on YouTube. But it didn't do anything, clearly, because here we are with COPPA rules. But there was a comment on that change.org petition. I like this comment. I don't think they explicitly said, but based on the name of the person posting and the little context from the comment, it was a mom talking about her son, who was like 8 maybe, I forget how old. But she was saying that she wanted relevant advertising for him, because then he would see advertisements about Nerf guns instead of Barbie. And that's actually a very, very good point, for 2 reasons why I think we should still have relevant advertising for kids. One, this one's a little bit less of an issue, I think, especially now advertising has gotten somewhat better, but there's still some hiccups, as I'll mention in a moment. But this one issue, personal story, all right? I'm on YouTube watching stuff, and then I see an advertisement for Cece's Pizza. This family goes to Cece's Pizza. It's an all-you-can-eat pizza place, and they have a fun time eating pizza there. Which, for me in Utah, that would be the closest thing I can think of is Pizza Pie Cafe. They're pretty good. I haven't been there in a while, but they are pretty good. And so I'm like, wow, Cece's Pizza sounds fun. I was 18 at the time. That's pretty important, I think. That sounds fun. I'm pretty sure I can convince my parents to, all the family, go there. This is my mom, my real dad, and me. We'd all go there one night and try them. Where are they? So I looked it up. They are not inside of Utah. Thankfully, I was 18 and pretty well-behaved kid. Because if you go back, if I was a little kid seeing that, they could throw a fit. The younger they are, the higher chance they might not understand that CC's Pizza is literally not in, or whatever it is literally not inside of their state, and they literally cannot obtain that thing for whatever reason. So targeted advertising means that you're less likely to have kids end up throwing fits over an advertisement for something they want, but they can't have for various reasons. Now, I get that's a little more extreme, and advertisements have come a long way since then. But it's kind of sort of, it's a possibility, and it ties into my next thing, where the big thing with tracking children is you don't want creepy people to have access, and pedophiles and stuff to have access to data where they could then do malicious things with it. And children are a lot easier to take advantage of. That's why you have a lot of stricter rules for kids 16 working at a job, especially even younger. And a lot of it makes sense, but for the tracking thing, I think this could actually be relatively easily handled. First of all, if you keep the data secure and you keep it anonymous, so you don't ever tell companies exactly where someone is or what, the device just does the work. The Google service has things locked away and they do the work. And then so you determine where somebody is, what their interests are. And so then, maybe, different companies can see analytics. They won't be able to see exactly where you live, but they'll be able to see your state, maybe even your city, some of your interest information, maybe possibly your age, and then, use that information relevantly. And the YouTube service obviously has a little more information than these companies would, but it basically is YouTube serving the ads to people. So the company says, here's my target audience. And YouTube says, great, we'll find that audience for you. You won't be able to see every individual user in that audience, but we'll find it for you. And YouTube's probably already doing that. So it kind of, I think, is begging for even more security and whatnot. And so first of all, you can be a little more anonymous with their age, maybe. If they specify, and maybe you can only, if you're under 13, let's say, maybe you can only specify a range of ages. I don't know. But also for the location address thing, you don't need to know maybe their specific address, but you just know, oh, they're using this ISP or this hub of this ISP, and it's in this city. So we know which city they're in. If you had to, you could even go the state level, but that's a little too far. Going the state level, you're encroaching on the territory I talked about, where something could be too far away for them to be able to see anything or be able to go and do it. But another thing too, if you think about it, more and more children and kids are having devices, and these devices are using location services. You've got watches now that kids can wear that allow parents to talk to them here and there whenever needed. And I'm sure the watches have tracking info so that parents can track their kids and make sure they're safe. Increasing more kids are just getting actual full-size phones, and they're using tracking. And so anytime a kid would summon the Google Assistant or Siri, that's going to be using location data. You've got data on children that way. Why is it okay there but not okay on YouTube? Now, I recognize that we do need some sort of safety ways and controls for kids, and these need to be options that parents or guardians can choose to implement. And I recognize that because sometimes kids don't know very well. I remember once, anyone remember Hobbytron TV? Back when Yuki and James were the ones running that channel? They had some funny videos. But I remember seeing on one video a comment that absolutely shocked me, how dumb it was to put this comment out there. And I'm going to read it like I think they meant it because of the way they wrote it with exclamation marks and stuff. They were like, "Hi, my name is this, and I'm 12 years old, and I absolutely love your videos, and they are so cool. And would you please, please, please come and film a video with me? I'm at this address." Wow, kid. Child, you gotta be kidding me. But, I mean, they're children. They're a child. Children oftentimes don't know. And this leads into a very, very good point that I have, because we're talking about putting control in the hands of parents. So let's say that I give my child a YouTube account. If I had a child, let's say I give them access to full-on YouTube, and I let them make a channel. Because let's say it's my daughter, and she likes what I do, and she likes my YouTube channel, and she wants to have her own channel where she can do her own thing, and so I'm okay with it. Which there are channels that do that. And sometimes they're even with parents' consent, which, if parents give permission, And again, you can use the extra security things I talked about earlier to prove that a parent has given permission. If you do that, why not let them do it? There are also some channels, I think of Baby Teeth 4. I don't know if their dad's still the main runner of the channel now, but when they were young, he was, and they were the stars. There's situations like that that are great too. But so I've given my daughter, we'll say she's 10, I've given her access to a YouTube channel. And then one day she accidentally puts our address out in a video. Either, and there's a number of reasons this can happen. Maybe I just forgot to tell her that that's not a thing we do for safety reasons. Maybe she just forgot for that one video to Sharpie marker out the address, or she accidentally showed our street number and our house number in the video. Maybe it was just a complete accident. She didn't notice, but whatever the reason, also, or one other reason too, maybe I didn't even think to tell her not to do that, and I just forgot, and I'm kind of dumb, or maybe I'm even a lazy parent and didn't even bother. But then a really creepy guy shows up at her house, wanting to do creepy things, right? Here's the thing with that. At that point, any court case, any lawsuits, any suing this man and trying to get him locked up in jail for being creepy, that's between my family, the creepy guy, and a court. YouTube's only job is to take down the video if we request so, or to edit out a certain part or blur something out. That's their only job. They are not responsible for anything else, because really it's not YouTube's fault. It's maybe my fault for not telling my child, or maybe it was a complete accident that my child had the info put on there, and so then it's the creepy guy's fault. And then some people would argue it's my fault for letting my kid have a YouTube, which don't even go there. But seriously, at that point, it's not YouTube's responsibility or fault. And YouTube has had to take action on massive things like this. If you think back in the past, were there a bunch of creepy guys going to videos of like kids doing gymnastics and other stuff and leaving comments with smiley faces and timestamps, which were stamps leading to money shots. Did my light just flicker? Huh, that's weird. Anyways, like, they just outright disabled comments on kids' videos, which is a big problem because comments are the biggest way that you interact with your audience on YouTube. The biggest way that you get feedback. Sure, you can stare at analytics numbers all you want, but eventually you're going to get to a point where you have to literally just ask, hey, what am I doing that's not working? What don't you guys necessarily like about the video? What do you want to see next? What do you want me to change? And even if you're not necessarily asking because you're in a desperate, I need to know how to improve my video situation, but you're just asking because you want to know what video game they want to see next, what song your viewers want you to cover, stuff like that. Kids can't really do that now because there are no comments on those videos. And if maybe their YouTubers are older and they want to comment and interact with them, they can't because there's no comments. YouTube just outright disabled them. Which, I mean, this is kind of a safety thing, I get, given what I mentioned earlier about the kid just blasting his address out there. But, like, for the situation we're talking about where there's all those creepy people in the comments, make better filters. YouTube currently has filters working on spam. They're not perfect, but they are working on it. And I don't know if it's changed or not, but I know at one point YouTube had a filter system where you could type in words that you didn't want to see in your comment section, and then they would automatically be filtered out. So I just went in there and typed in a whole bunch of swear words. I'll have to check and see if that's still around and if it's working. I don't think it quite is working. But make the comment system better. YouTube is notorious for doing things that aren't great. Like they got rid of the dislike button when they could have fixed the comment system. Oh boy. So here's the thing. YouTube needs to provide tools so that as parents, they can make their children safer online and restrict their children in ways that they want. So basically, make YouTube Kids as secure as you want to, and then advertise the heck out of it. Make sure every parent knows they have options for YouTube Kids. Oh, and also something that you desperately need to add to YouTube Kids is even more content filtering so parents can pick what types of content they want their kids to see. Because there's a person who's a friend of my mom, and my mom was mentioning how this friend set her kids up with a YouTube Kids account, and then she ended up seeing content about like being gay and stuff, and she doesn't want her kids to see that. There needs to be options to filter that out. I don't think that being gay is right, but I'm not going out to like attack people for being gay. That's a complicated another video. But this is the thing where I recognize the other side of the argument where there has to be some inclusivity, and if you excluded gays from YouTube Kids, it would be horrible. So don't exclude them from it. Just make sure there's filters. So you can say, oh, I don't want my kids seeing gay stuff. And there you go. They're not going to be perfect, but yes. So make YouTube Kids as good as you can. And then what you do is if somebody's not in YouTube Kids, it's just treated like full on YouTube. I don't care if it's a Disney music video. I don't care. I recognize that they are treating all videos made for kids as exactly the same, because that way if kids end up watching those videos outside of YouTube Kids, which is very likely, they're still going to be safe. I get that. I get why they're doing that. But I still think all those features should be in YouTube Kids. Focus on better controls for making sure that people outside of YouTube Kids are adults. And, in fact, like, leaving comments and stuff like that, they're already restricted in that regard. You have to be signed in for most of that stuff anyways. But maybe make it where you even have to be signed in to see comments, period. I don't like that idea. I do not think that is a good idea, but it's actually a better idea than not having comments at all. I would rather be able to comment on videos made for kids with my adult account than I would just have no comments ever. So a compromise would be then you have comments, but you have to be signed in, and only adults can see those comments. And unless, of course, like it's a kids channel with kids, and then they could see the comments too and respond to them. But yeah, so yeah. So a few final thoughts here. You have, what am I thinking of? Yeah, there's the YouTube Kids logo. It's a TV with the YouTube play button on it, and it's hovering there with a helicopter propeller. That to me sounds like helicopter parenting. That's not a good image, YouTube. Also, I've looked in the past to see if I was on YouTube Kids way before COPPA was a thing, and I wasn't. I feel like I should be. Don't know what requirements are back then to get on YouTube Kids, but now, marking a video for kids, and I think it will appear on there. And this is the thing, too, where you can definitely have some malicious actors marking videos for kids that aren't supposed to. But I'm sure they'll be prosecuted or action taken against them or whatever. Now, for me personally, I'm not for kids. And, I remember this is very important and actually relevant to right now. The FTC has specifically said that they don't know how to implement a safety system for kids on YouTube. They just know that YouTube needed to do something. And the FCC has specifically said, if your videos are for everyone, not just kids, you mark not for kids. Which I think that's really annoying, because then you have videos that are for everyone, but kids can't see them in YouTube Kids. Oh yeah. Which is why if I ever have kids, there's a chance that I'll get them YouTube Kids, but I might also give them just full on YouTube and recommend channels for them to watch. Because there are some channels that I like that they might really be interested in watching stuff about retro computers and other things, but those videos aren't specifically for kids, so they're not marked for kids, and so they couldn't see them if they're in YouTube Kids app. I think that's absolutely terrible. And then if you do mark for kids, then you lose a lot of other options for making money and other stuff. Oh my goodness. It's not great. So, yeah, for me, I'm not specifically for kids. I'm for everyone. I welcome children watching my videos as long as your parents are okay with it, alright? As long as your parents are okay with you going outside of YouTube Kids and watching my vids, welcome. But I'm not specifically catering to kids at the moment. If I ever do a video that is specifically for kids, I will mark it as such. But, that's pretty much my thoughts on this. Hopefully I don't accidentally delete this video. It makes it up and stays up. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, that's everything. So I'll see you guys in whatever's next.